Live. Hello, hello. Happy Friday. If you are tuning in, I'm going to wait for a little bit and let the streaming come through. Here we go. Whoops. Thank you so much for tuning in. I am going to just make sure that I share this at a few places. If you are tuning in, feel free to share to your friends on Facebook, on YouTube land, on email land, and everywhere. I'm Irina Spiritu with the Color-Coded Symphony Project. Thank you so much for joining us. And usually the Color-Coded Symphony Project is an in-person show in 3 parts. But today we're kind of doing an online version, which is not exactly the same as in person. But I'm coming to you from the traditional territory of the Muwekma and Ramaytush Ohlone, also known as San Francisco, California. And I'm very pleased to be presenting Bo Razón today as part of our Color-Coded Symphony Project. And you can, I don't want to talk too much, but check out my website, our website, color-coded-symphony.com. Our aim is to encourage curiosity towards other cultures through music. So if you are tuning in today, give us a hello and a like in the chat section, either on YouTube or on Facebook. And anyway, about Bo. I met Bo 3 years ago. I was honored to share the stage with him for our friend, our mutual friend, Carlos Dialcita, for his Cilindro project. And we performed on stage together, and I was just blown away by Bo's performance and his instrumentations. He's a multi-instrumentalist, a composer, a recording artist, an educator, and his influences are mainly native music from the North and Sub-Saharan Africa, Cuba, Southeast Asia, Brazil, the Caribbean, North America, Iberian Peninsula, and the Middle East. He's very passionate about traditional music of the indigenous world cultures, as well as by contemporary music genres. He seeks ways in which the two may coalesce organically. And his work has brought him to musical capacity with several global institutions of the world. Anyway, he's got such a huge background. I urge you to go to his website, and on the event page, we have a description of his background. And so without further ado, I would like to introduce to you, as part of celebration of Filipino American History Month, here is Bo Razón. Hi, Bo.
Hi, Mark. Thank you very much, Irene. Thank you for that wonderful introduction.
Thank you for doing this.
I want to greet everybody. So far, I imagine they'll be trickling in as in the minutes to come. But I want to extend my greetings and thanks to everyone tuning in to this wonderful platform of Irene and the Color-Coded Symphony. I am coming to you all from the land of the FAHM Kawichum, the people of the West, the Luiseño Indians who, with the Pachanga band, Pauma, Pala, Rincon, San Luis, Soboba, original native peoples, who were the original people of this land that I'm living in now. Anyway, we want to start. This is a backed by popular demand, with a few tweaks here and there. I did this some months ago, and there was just such an overwhelming response, and people were clamoring for more. So, fortunately, Irene, as she already described how we met, described her platform to me, and it just seemed like a really proper fit. So here we are again. Without further ado, we have so much material, and I'm hoping we get done in an hour and a half or an hour 20 minutes. The subject matter, Philippine Native music, obviously will not fit in an hour or 2 or 3 or even in a whole afternoon. So we're just going to look at an overview of this and concentrate on 2 regions of the Philippines. But first, I'd like to start with a brief geophysical / historical backgrounder, if you will.
All
Uh,
right, take it away.
the Philippines is an archipelago of 7,641 islands, depending, give or take a few, high tide, low tide. And I didn't notice until recently, but it's the fifth longest coastline in the world, just behind Canada, Indonesia, Russia, and Greenland. So I think perhaps the general perception is that it's a tiny country, not exactly a small country. It's bigger than the UK, Greece, Senegal. It's the same size as Italy. S3, please. Uh, that's the slide cue. The islands of what is now known as the Philippines are home to around 175 ethno-linguistic groups or nations or uh, ethno-linguistic uh, peoples, if you will, speaking different languages, most of which have Austronesian origins. Up until the end of the last ice age, around 12,000 years ago, most of these islands were connected uh, to each other, in a larger landmass. If you look at the map right now in your screens, you'll see that the islands that are broken apart, if you compress them, take out the water in between, they fit neatly, sort of a jigsaw puzzle sort of thing. And perhaps this is why there are quite some striking similarities with the indigenous people's culture, some elements of the indigenous people of Taiwan, or Formosa as it was called before, and the hill tribes there, and the hill tribes of northern Vietnam with the northern Luzon, northern Philippine hill tribes. Presumably they were crossing those land bridges back in that time. Recent archaeological diggings uh, have unearthed evidence of a human prototype in the Philippine Islands from 700,000 years ago. So humans have been there a long time, or people. There's evidence that shows ancient hominids that lived there for at least 70,000 years. So it's not it's not a young place. People have been there for a long time. Now, prehistoric Proto-Filipinos practiced animism and shamanism, much like I would imagine their concurrent global counterparts. S1, please. Now, throughout the millennia, there have been major migrations into the islands, showing that the archipelago, if you look at the map, it'll be up in a second. If you look at the map, it's right smack in the middle there. Southeast Asia to the north is Japan, Korea, China, Indonesia to the south, Australia. But you'll see like it's a gateway between Asia and the Pacific region. So from Asia outwards to the Pacific Islands and vice versa from the Pacific into the rest of mainland Asia. And it has been a very strategic place of migrations and transmigrations from virtually mainly Asia and the Pacific, but from all over the world. There are many various blends of people in the Philippines right now. Now, from the 7th to the 12th century, a little known fact now these days is that the Philippines, in what is now called the Philippines, a Hindu-Buddhist culture thrived, which was part of the Srivijayan Empire, which was based in Sumatra. So you can imagine sort of like, the Bali, the Hindu-Buddhist blend. Bali and Angkor Wat, etc., come to mind. Because the mother cultures at that time were India and of course, in the north, China. And there was a lot of trade. Well, eventually the trade from the east, the Arab and Muslim traders brought Islam to the islands in the 14th century, and it thrived there, reaching all the way to the north, S11, as far as north in Luzon in the province of Pangasinan, but mainly propagated and thrived in the south, in the island of Mindanao, where you find most of the Islamic groups now. Of course, in the 16th century, as everyone knows, Spain came and colonized the islands, brought Christianity and some elements of European and Iberian culture. All right, so that's the background there that we have Today we'll focus mainly on the two regions of the Philippines that have exerted a major influence on the current world music or ethno-fusion music coming out of the Philippines now, or have generated the most interest with among Filipinos and non-Filipinos in studying what the indigenous music is all about in the Philippine Islands. And these areas are the Cordillera Mountain region in the north. The north is the biggest island, Luzon, in the north of Luzon, and the main southern island of Mindanao. Now, most of the musical instruments we'll be looking at are made from gongs, from brass gongs, and bamboo. There are very many bamboo and gong instruments throughout the islands, even amongst different groups, as we shall see. S4, please. In the northern Cordillera region, which is the mountainous region of northern Luzon, where famous, perhaps most of you have heard or seen or heard of the Banawi rice terraces by the Ifugao rice terraces, which is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. The native people here have carved rice terraces, giant steps, if you will, into the mountainsides to cultivate the rice for millennia. Go back 2,000-3,000 years, they've been doing this over here. They are collectively known as Igorot, but they are comprised of specific ethno-linguistic groups like the Kalinga, Ifugao, Kankanay, Bontok, Gadang, Ibaloy, Itneg, Tingyan, and others. S5, please. Now, unlike many of the coastal and lowland peoples, they were never subjugated or conquered or colonized by either the Islamic traders that came through the south or by the Spaniards that came later in the 16th century. So they were a very, very fierce and, protected their mountain abodes from colonization, which is why they have a very rich and vibrant culture to this day, and which we shall see some of. Now, we're going to start with some of the Cordillera people's native instruments made from bamboo. And I have some of them here, which I've collected through the years and decades of researching and playing I have very dear friends who are Kalinga people, native to this region we're talking about. And I've learned from them and played music with them. I'm going to start with an instrument called the bungkaka. Bungkaka is a bamboo buzzer, as you see here. It has a hole here and which controls the air coming out. Here's what it sounds like. So you strike your palm and then you damp it like this at the same time, holding your thumb close and open over the hole to create the wah-wah-ish sound. Comes in different sizes and different pitches according to the size. So you can, create really very cool textures. We'll see the natives play their instruments in a while. By the way, the bungkaka, the name, some of these instruments have very onomatopoeic names. Obviously, bungkaka for this one. Now, next we have the sagay po, which are the Cordillera. In this case, these are Kalinga panpipes, but unlike the Andean panpipes or flutes, these are separated. They're individual tubes. They're not strung together. Some people have strung them together, but they're very resonant and loud. So they're played individually, but with interlocking rhythms, and the pitches create a very nice contour, rhythmic and melodic contour. Again, we'll see this played later on. We also have the patangguk, which are the quill bamboo quill tubes. These are more percussive idiophones. Again, it has the hole here for affecting the sound. So those are some of the bamboo instruments of the Cordillera. We have one more, which is the tongatong. I almost forgot. This is one of my favorites. These are the bamboo stamping tubes. They come in different sizes, and they're played usually by stamping them on the ground. So they come in different sizes, which create the different pitches. Again, they're played normally individually or maybe two per person, but then the ensemble playing with the interlocking rhythms again and the pitches make for a very, very interesting and rich sound. Lots of so again, we'll see this. So again, different pitches. These are the tongatong. I've used this for recording, and sometimes you can play. People use chinelas or what's called flip-flops here, but I have this thing that's a hybrid player. I like it; makes a very resonant, and then you can control to make a semitone sound. See that half tone there? So if you have you're recording at home, and then you can just overdub yourself with all the different textures and rhythms. It's very funny. You can get creative. So now we'll see the real guys play them. This first clip, V1, are Cordillera musical instruments. The moderator is one of the foremost exponents and experts of the I'm not sure what's going on with the video there. If anybody, I think it was, I'm not sure, but I'm seeing it kind of like slow-mo. But anyway, at any rate, the sound is there, and I hopefully everybody could hear the sound. That was called the pateteg. The instruments they were playing is sort of like a bamboo xylophone, individual xylophone pieces that they were playing. And this particular music was for a wedding dance. Now, the next excerpt will be the tongatong that I just showed you, the bamboo stamping tubes. And this next piece they play for baptisms and house blessings. So that was the tongatong that you saw. Again, that's played for baptisms and house blessings and the like. Now, the moderator you see on screen, I wanted to mention, is one of the foremost exponents of his culture, Kalinga and Cordillera culture. His name is Benny Sokong, an educator, a musician, and a cultural leader of his people up there in the Cordillera Mountains. The next clip we will see, the players are playing the patanguk, which is a Kalinga tribal pattern. The patanguk, like you saw, were the bamboo quills back here. Okay, that was one. That was one of my favorites. Great, pentatonic line there with the little embellishments. And it's amazing how it's just one player per instrument, but when they play together, it's just you know, a seamless piece. It feels like it doesn't feel like there's different individual parts going on, just one whole seamless organic piece. Now the next one is one of my favorite Cordillera bamboo instruments. The bungkaka. I love saying that. Bungkaka. And this bungkaka piece, they play like before the harvest, the harvesting the rice. They play this for a bountiful yield of the rice. Traditionally, they offer music. Sometimes they have dances in propitiatory dances and songs to the nature, entities or deities in their traditional beliefs. So here is I apologize. Weeks and weeks go by without anybody knocking on the door. And this afternoon, of all times, somebody decides to sell me something. It's just Murphy's Law. Anyway, that was the bungkaka. The next clip, we have the sagaypu, which you saw me playing earlier, the little bamboo flutes or pitch pipes. Sagaypu. Now, that particular music, they play on their way to tribal councils. By the way, my friend, somebody said my favorite. Yeah, it's great. There, by the way, there's other clips on YouTube if you type Sagaypu. I saw one clip of a whole group of Cordillera people. I think they were Kalinga, I'm not sure. But they were going down this mountain road, and there must have been a dozen of them, each with the Sagaypu. And the sound was just incredible. And my friend Kalinga Rasta Badjao Wandag, who's my very dear friend, who is a Kalinga native, who lives in Minnesota now, he was telling me that sometimes they play this when they go to a tribal council meeting. I said, oh, so for a couple of hours away, or oh, he said no. The next village could be, like 15 hours away because they walk, over from mountain to mountain. It's an entire mountain range, or it could be a day away or 2 days away. So in the meantime, on the way there, in case there are some areas of the forest or the trail with malevolent spirits, the Sagaypu comes in very handy. Now we're going to leave the bamboo instruments for a minute and go to the other type of Cordillera instruments called gangsa. Gangsa are the flat gongs that are emblematic of Cordillera people's collective dances and town fiestas, if you will. But these are played in two distinct styles, either topaya or patung. I hope I'm saying it right. In topaya, the musicians play the surface of the gangsa, and we'll see a clip with that. And there's certain techniques, and there's usually sitting down when they're playing it, and the gongs resting on their lap. In the patung style, the musician is standing and holding the gangsa with his left or right hand, if the, whatever, if he's a lefty, or and then the other hand is holding a beater. So he has the gangsa gong. Let's say I'm right-handed. I'm holding the gong on my left hand, and it's suspended. And then I'm hitting it. I'm playing it with my right hand. Usually, the guy in that style, the player is also dancing. In step with the other dancers. Usually it's the men that are playing the gongs and the women are dancing. So this next, these V2, this is the Gadang tribe of Cordillera peoples playing gangsa in the hand style. And I noticed a lot of rhythms and parts. So that was the topaya style. Now, if you, I see, oh, Maurice is here, great. Hello, everybody again. Thank you for tuning in. Musicians, you might notice that last piece from the Gadang people playing the gangsa gongs was a really shuffly beat there. And you could even discern some melodies. So it's a universal thing. Next, we're going to look at some another instrument, the original instrument, the human voice, some beautiful chants. The hudhud is the epic chant of the Ifugao, with over 200 chants and 40 episodes recounting ancestral heroes, religious beliefs, family genealogies, traditions, customs. It takes several days to finish the entire hudhud, if they at all finish in one, So a week or so, and each episode can even take 2 days to finish, each episode. So they're chanting about stuff that happened, for millennia. This is entire history of the Ifugao people. V3, chanted journeys by young Ifugao schoolgirls.
Panatalan kadakalan ya agapawan dayanan wangawanda ada makawayan kay pun kilkil bandan bulik-lik bul-bulik yayuna oya at lagu-lagu daya oh hey Noy anpit lundi balik kuhundi tagtagam daad ol hadanya al datan dalita anganda ada makawayan pumbag tunay galay gay na altugan mo buga aki buga na ya oya ohan nakapangaiwan ohe ya din lino
you know that those that piece really hits me every time. It is just so beautiful and so ancient, but yet these young children are singing. They are really continuing the tradition, uh, from a few thousand years, and it keeps going on. It's just a beautiful thing. Um, okay, so following here, we have some more samples of Cordillera music and instruments. The next clip, V4, is another ubiquitous instrument found in the highlands, the nose flute. Uh, Tongali it's called in Kalinga, but this is the Bontoc version, which they call kalaleng, the nose flute. Well, I wish we could play all these clips in their entirety because it's just such beautiful stuff. But like I say, like the title of the presentation says, an overview. So um, we'll figure out a way for you to get the YouTube information. We'll perhaps discuss that at the end, so you can watch the entire clips. Okay. But for now, we need to keep moving. The next one is just a very brief clip of showing a collective dance with the gongs. Now, usually this is a more formalized setting, and you can see this. These are the town celebrations or the village celebrations, usually down in the town square. Um, Yeah, these are the Kalinga people, and it's a more formalized setting. There's this is what they show the tourists, although it's not just for the tourists. It's really an event or a cultural event for them. The next clip, V6, is when the tourists aren't around, what the regular village folks play, when they're just having a good time with themselves, hanging out, jamming. These are the Benguet people. Bakun Benguet. Visayas, the native people in Mindanao were called Lumad. Lumad. These were the non-Islamic indigenous peoples called Lumad. And among them were the Atabagobo, the Blaan, Bukidnon, Higaonon, Tiboli, S7 and S8. Sorry, I should have been queuing. There they are. The native people were these are the Lumad non-Islamic people. So let's start again. S6. Sorry, Irene. S6. Again, I was listing down. You can just go S6, S7, S8, a few seconds each. So among the ethnolinguistic groups of the Lumad, non-Islamic indigenous Mindanao people, are the Blaan, Bukidnon, Higaonon, Tiboli, Mamanwa, Mandaya, Manobo, Mansaka, Sangir, Subanon, Tagakaulo, and Talaandik, and more. There's quite a few. That elder with the upright gongs, that was from the Blaan tribe. And the Lumad live mostly in the interior of the island, in the hinterlands, in the mountain regions, in the hill regions of Mindanao. And they again are the original people of the land, so they've been around a long time. They have the gong again and the bamboo instruments, one of which is called the kubing, which is the Jew's harp, the mouth harp, as it were. And again, different sizes, different pitches. So the next clip is a Tiboli musician playing kubing. Now, this particular piece is played, according to him, during the lunar eclipses. And they play it to bring the moon back. Kubing. So it's amazing how many sonic things that are going on with that kubing instrument that is able to, like I was saying, he is trying to make the moon come back during the eclipse. That's when they play that particular piece. Now, one ubiquitous, or another, another instrument from the tribes of Mindanao, natives, is called the gabang, which is a xylophone. I have one here that I acquired in Zamboanga in one of my travels. And this is a 5-key gabang, lamellophone or xylophone, wooden xylophone, very resonant. Let me get the beater here. So I have one. I also have a 17 key one, which is obviously bigger, but unfortunately it's not here right now. It's in my bodega, 8,000 miles away, where my other instruments are. But the next piece we're going to see, V8, is an elder of the Yakan tribe playing the gabang. Gabang. It's amazing how many, just from 5 notes and 5 keys there with that gabang, how the player was able to coax all these different sounds. And also, he's also obviously a drummer. Some great polyrhythms there with the keys and everything. Now, the Yakan, which is where this instrument is from, and that gentleman was from, are part of the Islamic indigenous ethnic groups in Mindanao. With the arrival of Islam brought by Muslim traders in the 14th century to these shores, coastal and lowland Mindanao, these ethnic groups came to be known as Moros, which is a Spanish word actually for Moors, which is what they were known, in back in Moorish Spain, the Moros. So collectively they became known as Moros, but they are very different, distinct groups among the Islamic indigenous people. Among them are the Maguindanao, the Maranao, the Tausug, Yakan, like that instrument we just saw, the Samal and the Bajau, which are the seafaring peoples, the sea gypsies they're called, the Samamapun, the Iranun, Tausug, I already said that. So these different groups also have gong instruments, gong ensembles, which collectively generically called kulintang. So this is the famous kulintang music, which has exerted a lot of influence over the years in propagating the concept of Philippine ethnic music. It's very predominant in the image of Philippine indigenous music. And I'm proud to say, and I'm honored to have been the friend and a student of the pioneer of Kulintang music in North America, Danongan Kalanduyan, who unfortunately has passed away a few years ago. But he was a Maguindanao person, and he brought his culture's music here, and he's propagated it, and many followers and students and disciples in the diaspora have kept his legacy going. So I just wanted to mention that. One ubiquitous instrument throughout the Mindanao native cultures is the boat lute. This is called different names depending on which group is playing them. In the Maguindanao, call them the Kutyapi. They're also called Hegalong, Faglong, Kuglung, Kudyapi. It's also played in Palawan, and you find them elsewhere in Southeast Asia. like in Borneo and Sarawak and places like that. Versions thereof, but it's generically collectively known as the boat lute. By the way, a good friend of mine, German ethnomusicologist Hans Brandes, who provided some of the pictures you saw earlier of the native tribes, has a boat lute page on Facebook that's very interesting. You should check out if you're at all interested. Now, my boat lute I got from the late great Danica Duyan, and it's the Maguindanao version. So it originally belonged to my present guru of Kutyapi, who's his younger brother, Karatuan Kalanduyan. But just to describe the instrument, it's got two strings. One is a drone, and the other one on top is a melody. So this particular drone, it's called 2, and it has a rather exotic scale of whole tones and semitones. Let me just play it. So that's an E, that's a D. First fret is an E here. Let me just play a short excerpt of a piece called Mamayog that I learned from Datuan Kalanluyan. This is a sort of a courtship romantic song. So you can see that it plays a very it's a very personal kind of instrument. Obviously, it doesn't play with the gong ensembles. It just plays by itself. But there's some very excellent virtuosic work on this. Yeah, I'm a long ways from there, but you'll see in the following clips. By the way, there are some theories about the origins of this instrument. That it has Indian origins. If you look at the Indian veena or the sarod or the sitar, but those have a lot more strings. But the concept of the sympathetic strings or the drone string, like in the tambura, playing all throughout, and then the melody string, the top string plays the melody in the top. That so again, Indian origins from Sri Vijayan times. V9, we're going to look at now some masters of the Kutyapi. This is Samaon Sulaiman. Okay, so that's an example. I call him, unfortunately, he passed away some years ago also. I was going to go take some lessons from him, some master class or something. Samaon Sulaiman was also awarded, he was a national artist of the Philippines. Awarded a cultural award for being a master of that particular instrument. And it's a very difficult instrument to learn, and much less to master. But that particular scale he was playing, or mode, is called dinaladai. So there's two main scales or slash modes that are played on the Kutyapi. Dinaladai, which is what you just heard, and what I played, mine is tuned to a binalig mode. So that scale, that Binalig scale that mine is tuned to, that would be E, F, A, B, C, E, G flat, A flat, B. So a combination of minor seconds and major thirds and major second intervals. Very interesting configuration of scalar configuration. Now we're going to V10. We're going to see another Kutyapi master artist, Bapa Yusop, playing in the Binalig mode. Yeah, that was the Binalig mode. We're gonna, the time is just zooming by, so we're gonna short speed things along now. We're gonna go to the Kulintang music of, again, the Mindanao peoples. So the next clip, we're gonna see. Well, I have some of the instruments here, real quick, of the Kulintang ensemble. This is called the Babandir, which is otherwise known as the timekeeper. And S12 is called the Dabakan. S12 slide, please. I have my Dabakan, but it's not here. The Dabakan is the drum that is used in the Kulintang ensemble to accompany the gongs. And among other instruments, they have the Sarunay, the Gandingan, which is placed, there's the Dabakan, there's my Dabakan. And they have the Gandingan, which are the four gongs that play a tenor ostinato, sort of drone accompaniment to the main Kulintang. The Kulintang's playing the melody on top. So without further ado, in many of these Mindanao cultures, Kulintang was traditionally a women's instrument. They excelled in the performance, in the art form, and they took the lead in, innovating and improvising. But now men and women play Kulintang. Here's a group of Maguindanao babus or aunties, jamming in a traditional style, V11. So those were the babus, really cool stuff there. Now, the next clip is a particular rhythm and mode of Philippine music that I break down. D104. The timeline or the Banduria part of this one is called, this is called TID2, and the timeline is very similar to the Tresillo rhythm cell found in the Caribbean music, Africa. It's found in India. It's found in Brazil, New Orleans, Cuba, Calypso. This rhythm, it's a universal rhythm cell. So this is TID2 broken down.
4. Jabakan part. High agong. Low agong.
It's amazing how much of these similar, rhythms, rhythmic fields are found all over around the world. Kulintang music is used for recreation, entertainment, festivals, and also healing. Nowadays, Kulintang performances are breaking new ground with the youth coming in and innovating and expanding tradition into new heights, virtuosic heights. So V12, please. This is a group of young people in Maguindanao, and look what they've done with this music. Okay, Irene, I think we're not going to play the second part of this clip anymore just because of time. Anyway, folks, I don't know, was that 300 BPM or something? I mean, they've just taken it to like hyper speed heights. So you can see the agility and virtuoso performance there. The timing's running, so we're going to skip over a couple of clips, unfortunately. There was V13, please, but we're just probably going to play half of it. Actually, we don't need to. I'm sorry, Irene. We need to go to section C. In 1521, Spain arrived on these shores and started the 330-year-old colony. Highlanders, Lumad, Moros, like I mentioned earlier, resisted, and so they were not subjugated. However, lowlanders and coastal islanders were greatly influenced by their Spanish colonizers in music, food, dress, dance, cuisine, language, and religion. So throughout the Visayas and the central plains of Luzon and the coastal and central areas of Luzon, the Euro-Iberian influences came to fore. So you find dances over there and song forms such as the danza, pasodoble, valsa, jota, polka, mazurka, fandangos, habanera, etc., etc. And also the Spanish brought their instruments, stringed instruments like the banduria and the laúd. So these are 14 string. They became developed, from the Hispanic origins in the Philippines and became part of rondallas, which are stringed string ensembles. So you have different stringed instruments like these all throughout the Philippines, which, by the way, other Spanish colonies have. Like you find rondallas in Cuba, maybe not so much anymore these days, but there were definitely Cuba, Mexico, Puerto Rico, Venezuela. They all have rondallas or versions thereof, little stringed orchestras. So a sample of V101, a sample of how these instruments might work together, as I put together this little demo again of a Filipino folk song and using these Hispanic influenced Banduria and Laúd. So you have the Banduria playing the lead melody. The Laúd is playing underneath that sort of tenor lines, but more sustained tenor lines. And then the guitar with the rhythm and the changes. So that would be a sample of how those three instruments might work in a rondalla setting. The next clip, V15, are a bunch of elderly gentlemen in a village in a folk rondalla setting. This is not a formalized rondalla setting. It's more like the manongs get together and jam. And you'll notice these as paso doble Spanish duple meter rhythm. Oh, thanks. Okay, thank you. I'm sorry to cut that short. Thank you, Irene. But like I say, time is a running. this is a reminiscent of some Latin American genres, you know, the major minor, you know, going into major bridge, minor's song form. By the way, if you notice the elder guy in the middle, in the center, he was playing what looked like a banjo. That's actually a hybrid combination of a banduria, the one behind me there, and a banjo. So they do that sort of innovation. They hybridize, they combine the two to make it louder, because obviously there's fewer of them. So anyway, that was some foot stomping music right there. Now we're going to go to more formalized settings of rondallas. By the way, there's every school in the Philippines has a rondalla, you know, and there's competitions. The next clip, V16, is an annual national youth competition. Now notice how the arrangement and harmonic sophistication that is in these ensembles, rondallas. Well, that's what's called the en grande finale. So yeah, you can see the gamut. Now we're going to look at the next clips, which features duets. Again, this is part of a national youth competition. You can hear the European classical influences in the pieces, triple meter arrangement in that last one. And check out this next clip. The young kid at the end, it's they combine, you know, the competitors, and at the end it's the very, very young kid who does the coda, and check him out. Oh no, V17, I'm sorry, V17. I'm sorry, Irene, I should have said V17. Yeah, these are the duets with the Banduria and guitar duets, V17. Oops, did I have it right? Okay, well, I guess we're having trouble with V17. Okay, well, I'm not sure what's going on with V17, but oh, there it is. 205, 205. It starts at 205. It starts at 205. Well, anyway, folks, sorry about that one. It was somehow not the clip that I wanted to show. Anyway, we'll move on. So you get a picture of the rondalia and the European Hispanic influence. Now we're going to go jump to what's going on today. Nowadays, there's this whole ethno-fusion movement with the diaspora. Filipinos are found all over the world, certainly here in North America, in Europe, and everywhere else. So they are reconnecting with the traditions and the indigenous music and the roots music of their mother islands, and are doing different things. Here's a couple of projects I was involved in. V18. This is a classic Tagalog song, but arranged by Chris Trinidad, who I played the Banduria here. Very proud to be part of this. It's a combination of the Cuban danzón, sort of like a habanera danzón rhythm, with Philippine instruments and Philippine melodies. Great. So that was a classic Cuban danzón rhythm and format, but it fits the Philippine melody, which is from the 20s or 30s or something, Ang Tanging Kong Pag-ibig, My One and Only Love in English, and the Philippine rondalia instruments, Banduria, Laúd, Octavina, fit really well. The next clip is from my own CD called the Saronay Sessions I released a couple of years ago. This I blended a Maranao Kolintang piece called Katsagarongan with some Afro-Latin rhythms like Nigerian Iesa rhythms, Afro-Cuban, and also North American funk. And you'll see an Afrobeat. So you'll see what happens when I blend the two. This is my thing now. It's amazing how time just whooshes by when you're having fun. I hope that was a brief overview of Philippine Native music. I can't believe the hour and a half has just zoomed by. But obviously there's so much more, content to cover. this could be a whole series actually, and maybe that'll happen someday. Knock on wood. Maybe that's in the works sometime in the future. I'd like to thank Irene. Again, Espiritu and the Color-Coded Symphony, but we have a quick Q&A right now. So if anybody has any questions they'd like to ask, now is the time.
Yes, please enter them in the chat.
Oh,
Linda
thank you,
Mentel.
Linda. Yes, my de facto website right now is my FB, my Facebook music page, Razón Music. My official website's still under construction. So thank you for coming, and thank you for joining us. People from Oaxaca, Mexico. Viva Mexico. Maurice, thank you so much, brother. Bronze Colintang, thank you. Mary. Oh, Mary. Hola, Mary. Muchas gracias. And Linda and Green Stage, and everybody else who was part of this today. My thanks and gratitude to, again, Irene Espiritu for the platform.
Thank you so much for doing this for us. I learned so much, and there's so much more. Hopefully we'll get to do it again.
Yes, I hope so too. We'll keep them. We'll keep everybody in the loop. So.
All right.
Oh, there is Antonio Ruiz. Thank you.
Great.
If there's any more, we technically have about 10 minutes. So in case anybody has any questions, I don't want to preempt anything, but.
Yes. And this event is free, but if you'd like to donate, all the money will go to Bo.
Yes,
I posted
please.
the info on the chat
I need to
section.
go back to school.
Let me post it again. So feel free to post your questions, and if you like to donate to Bo, I'm so grateful that he presented his expertise with us today. So much to learn.
Yeah. We never stop. One thing I learned is that we never stop learning. You could be 85 years old and you're still learning stuff.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm not 85 yet, but anyway. So anyway, thanks again, Irene, and the Color-Coded Symphony.
All right. Well, if there's not any more questions, thank you so much for joining us, and please help us spread the word. This will be up on YouTube. Feel free to share, and thank you so much, Bo.
Thank you.
Somebody posted.
Oh,
yes.
Oh, that's right. Give me 1 second. Oh, thank you for that. 1 second. Let me.
Two CDs that recently came out.
The Smithsonian. By the way, I've been a fan of the Smithsonian Folkways label since 40 years ago or so. All those albums that Alan Lomax and like Cuban music, and this just came out on the Smithsonian Folkways. It's an homage tribute double CD album to my friend and mentor, the late great Danonong Calandian, who is the pioneer of Colintang music in North America. He brought his culture over here and has so many adherents and students and disciples now. By the way, that's a picture of my group Subla, my group together with Chris Trinidad and Danny when he was still around, and Frank Holder. We do neo Colintang jazz. So CD1 is a lot of the traditional music from Danny's culture, the Maguindanao culture. And CD2 in the album is music of the diaspora. And I'm proud and honored to be included. That song that you just heard a clip of at the end is in this double album compilation, as well as a one cut from the Subla project that I'm in, that I just talked about, jazz fusion with Colintang. So please try and listen to this, go get it, and support the arts. Smithsonian Folkways.
Do you have a direct link to that to purchase that CD,
I actually I posted it on my music page probably about a month or so ago. I'm going to post it again. Right now, I don't have a link unless you could just go to the Folkways website, I suppose,
Okay.
and look for it there.
And I'll post it on YouTube
Yeah,
on this
Kulintang
string.
Kultura. Right.
I will do that. Here it is. I think I found it. Okay,
Yeah.
let me
Yeah,
just
and thank you again, Mr. BK, for I know this person, but but the handle is Bronze Kulintang, but I think I know this person. I'm just not you know. But anyway, thank you so much for reminding me. Yeah, that's a great reminder.
I
So there
just
it
posted
is.
it on YouTube, so everyone please check it out.
Okay, great.
Um,
Thank you.
Great. All right. Any other questions? Please post it in the chat. I know there's a. Oop. All right. Rocco says
Oh,
hi.
wow.
Ah, that must be
Oh, I know
Titania.
who it is. Wait, how could I forget? And Titania was instrumental. I didn't even show you my kulintang akayo, which is because we were running out of time. But there it is, the wooden kulintang, which Titania so graciously accommodated to be brought over here to the U.S. from Mindanao.
I love it.
And Rocco, hello. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Hi, Rocco.
Yeah, Titania is another expert on Philippine Native music. So,
In fact, she played the first color-coded symphony at the Asian
oh,
Art
wonderful,
Museum.
wonderful.
Yes.
Perhaps one day we have a group, sort of a group, thing,
Yeah, we'll
where,
get Carlos in too.
Carlos is in Leyte. He's living in Leyte, but it would be, virtual. So that would be pretty awesome.
All right, we'll make it happen.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Any other questions out there? We have 6 minutes left. All right. Well, if you have any other questions, you know how to reach Bo.
There's a question.
Oh, question. Okay. Question from Green Stage.
Green Stage.
What's your question?
It's being typed, perhaps.
Probably yes. But anyway, check out Bo's Facebook page for now, music page, and his CD Saronai Sessions.
Yes,
Did I say that right?
Saronai Sessions.
I have a copy, and I very much enjoy it. I highly recommend it.
Thank you. It's available on all the digital platforms. You can stream it or download it. By the way, I'm working on a follow-up on my next one. So my target is late spring, perhaps, but something's
Great.
coming. Question.
Excellent.
Oh, well.
Is the question coming through?
Well, the doggos have a question. They want to go outside.
Is it dinner time for the doggos?
He started giving me dirty looks. Yeah. All right. Okay. All right. All right. Well, thank you again. Rocco says hi. Thank you, Rocco. Question. All right. So.
Well, the YouTube link will be available after this, so feel free to come back and refer to it, and please share as far and wide as possible. And thank you all for joining us.
Thank you.
All right, everyone. I don't know if the question is coming through or not. Okay, thank you so much. All right. Thank you, Marty.
Thank you, Marty.
All right, take care, everyone. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you again soon.